Hello and welcome to Moveeno. Today, I'm going to explain the 2016 movie called The Great Wall. Sit back and enjoy. In the opening scene, we see a group of a dozen horsemen chasing 5 men through the desert and flying arrows at each other. One of the 5 men landed an arrow at one of the horsemen, which made the horsemen stop briefly. The horsemen continued to pursue them, but the 5 men managed to escape into a cave by cutting 2 of their load-carrying horses loose. The 2 horses continued running along with a cloud of dust behind them, confusing the horsemen to continue the chase. In the cave, they made a campfire. One of the men bandages his wound and proposes to the others that they have to turn back. One of the men, Tavar, disagreed and said they have been riding for 6 months. Then William, the second man, added that they are the strongest to have survived even though they have lost 20 men along the way. The men happen to have a common goal: black powder. They are mercenaries looking for black powder. The wounded man argued that it's no longer worth the journey since they have no map, no food and no medicine, but William maintained that no one is going back. In fact, they should take inventory of what they have left and finish what they started. Tavar takes out a magnet and thinks it's of no use, but William asked him to hand it to him because he could use it to make a compass. Tavar throws the magnet away from William. As William goes to pick the magnet, Tavar joins him to have chit-chat. Suddenly, a strange creature attacks the 3 men in a flash. William and Tavar drew their swords and stayed alert since they couldn't find the other men anywhere but a trail of blood. Just as the creature appeared to attack them, William quickly cuts off its hand and they both managed to kill it. The 2 were frightened because they don't know what type of creature it was. The 2 agreed to move quickly, taking the severed hand along so someone could tell them what they just killed. In the next scene, the 2 continued their journey and suddenly they saw another group of horsemen coming after them. The horsemen engaged them in a chase only to appear before the Great Wall, which is heavily guarded by warriors. William and Tavar had no choice but to surrender to the Chinese warriors. A messenger of the army quickly runs to call their commander, Commander Lin, to interrogate the men. She asked them where they found the creature's hand. William replied by saying they killed that creature 2 days ago in the mountains after it had killed 3 of his friends. General Shao couldn't believe that they were able to kill the creature all by themselves. William then told them he killed alone. Commander Lin asked how. William simply said by a swing of the sword. He was able to cut the hand off. Commander Lin then asked what's their mission, and William replied that they came to trade and were ambushed. One of the leaders believed them to be liars, but the other disagreed and said since they brought the hand and the green blood is fresh on the sword, he believes their story. Then Commander Lin proposed that they kill them to protect their secret and to eliminate any possible trouble. General Shao agreed, but the other leader suggested they keep them alive until they find out the truth. Suddenly, a soldier runs in to inform General Shao of signals received from the smoke towers, meaning they are under attack. General Shao commanded all stations to be on full alert. As Commander Lin and his men prepare their army for battle, Tavar asked her if she's going to kill them, pleading for time to pray before their death. Then strategist Wang said since they managed to kill the creature and killed it alone, they are under siege. The Taote will attack. He then instructed a soldier to tie them to a wall. Tavar and William are then taken to the top of the wall where a portion of the soldiers and taking their positions to fight. The soldiers instruct them to sit down. Both the foot soldiers and the archers take their positions in readiness for battle. Female soldier dressed in their blue outfits also take their positions. Tavar asked William what those female soldiers do because he has never seen such soldiers before. They were both amazed at such an incredible army. Now the soldiers were ready in position waiting for the Taote creatures to attack. Then the creatures started coming in the valley in their numbers. In fact, in their thousands. General Shao told the drummers to signal for long-distance weapons. They launched their fireballs in the air directly targeting the creatures in the valley and starting blasting the creatures into pieces upon impact. Then the archers followed by flying their arrows. The creatures were so many and kept coming. General Shao then signaled the Crane Corps to attack. These are female soldiers in blue outfits we saw earlier. They have special diving skills. They dive off the cranes and descend down to attack the creatures with their specialized spears and swing back with the help of hoop and rope attached to their waist. Some were unfortunate and didn't make it back to the top. As the battle is ongoing, Tavar spots Ballard, an old mercenary who was captured and detained in the past and is now living with the soldiers hiding in the corner. We then witness the arrival of the queen of the creatures, heavily guarded by her muscular and bigger guards. Strategist Wang informs General Shao of the arrival of the queens and indicates that she commands the creatures. General Shao quickly gives the instruction to attack the queen. Fireballs are quickly launched, and just before they hit the queen, those specialized guards formed a canopy to shield the queen, keeping her safe. Queen then signaled the rest of the creatures to climb the wall to attack further. One of the creatures then managed to climb up and lands on top of the wall. It then started attacking some soldiers. Tavar and William got frightened of the scene and asked Ballard, who was still nearby, to cut them loose. He quickly runs to cut them loose. William quickly jumps in the air and grabs a spear and pushes it into the mouth of the creature, then slashes a portion of its head, but the creature smashes him and he lands a few meters away. He puts another spear in its mouth, but the creature was so strong that it pushed him with the spear on the concrete. He then killed the creature by aiming for the eye and pushing another spear through it. Another creature landed again on top of the wall, and William, being a gifted archer, was able to land an arrow in the eye, killing it instantly. In fact, he killed another that was chasing Ballard the same way. Now the queen, having taken too much casualties, signaled the rest of the creatures to retreat. After the creatures had left, General Shao together with Commander Lin and some soldier came face to face with William and Tavar and congratulated them for their good fight. William asked Commander Lin if the creatures will come back. Then General said they have to prepare for their comeback. He then asked the soldiers to take William and Tavar to the barracks. Back in the barracks, one of the soldiers went to thank William for saving his life. Outside of the barracks, General Shao is seen having a conversation with Commander Lin. He tells how intelligent the creatures have become than they were 60 years ago. He also asked her to keep a closer eye on both William and Tavar since they can't leave the barracks in order to protect their secret. Later that night, Ballard wakes up William and Tavar, who were having a rest in a frightening manner, resulting in them drawing their knives to defend themselves. Ballard then introduces himself to both of them, and William and Tavar also introduce themselves to him. Ballard asked what brought them there, and William replied that they came looking for black powder. Ballard said he also came with mercenaries 25 years ago for the same black powder. He then told William and Tavar to clean up and come for dinner. In the next scene, the two walk in the dining hall and are welcomed with a round of applause by General Shao and his entire army, who were already having dinner. Commander Lin then welcomes them officially on behalf of General Shao and thanked them for their skills and courage. William warmly accepts the honor. A soldier then hands him a bow and arrows, telling him how General Shao is wondering why such a great archer like him uses an old weapon. William then replied there is no such great weapon here, bursting everyone into laughter. Commander Lin then tells William that General Shao wishes to see him shoot his arrows. William asked whether they want him to shoot inside the dining hall. Commander Lin replied that General Shao thinks he is afraid to shoot. William then accepts the challenge. He then asked Tavar to grab an empty cup, which he did. Then the two discussed their strategy for a shot. William asked Tavar to toss the cup in the air on his count, and whilst the cup was in the air, he skillfully shot 3 arrows, nudging the cup in different directions and landing it with the cup sitting accurately on 2 of the arrows, sticking perfectly in the wall. The whole crowd cheered with a resounding round of applause and a standing ovation. Whilst eating at the table with Commander Lin, William asked her a few questions and they shared a few stories of their pasts. Across the room, Tavar and Ballard were also having a conversation about black powder, with Ballard advising Tavar to keep their plans private because they aren't the first mercenaries that had come there looking for black powder. However, they would discuss it later that night. Back at the table, William shares more with Commander Lin about great people and kings he had fought for, including the Duke, Spain, and even the Pope. Commander Lin was impressed. Back at the barracks, Ballard demonstrates with a sample black powder and lights it right before Tavar and William, bragging to them to have a taste of a piece of what he has in store of the black powder. He then tries to convince them to plan an escape, so when the creatures return and the guards have all taken their position on the wall, they make them move. Suddenly, they hear a knock on the door that Strategist Wang requests their presence. Apparently, Strategist Wang was holding their magnet that he had previously tested its strength and asks William and Tavar where it came from. William replied it came from his back. William then asks the strategist where Taotes are now. Strategist Wang replied that they are in the mountains regrouping. Meanwhile, General Shao, Commander Lin, and some soldiers were rushing to the West Tower because some troops were found to be unaccounted for. They draw their swords and quickly take their positions when they saw one of the creatures ahead and slowly advance towards it. Another creature was also slowly approaching from behind. Both creatures eventually run towards them to attack. In an attempt to defend, General Shao drew his sword into the creature's mouth and in the process saved Commander Lin, whom the creature had targeted. General Shao was badly wounded and died moments later. Before dying, General Shao handed over command to Commander Lin and told the rest of the commanders that Commander Lin will lead them going forward. The commanders gave their final assurance to General Shao, vowing to protect the wall and defeat the Taotes. A funeral was held for General Shao across the entire length of the wall with a sky full of floating lanterns. In the next scene, the soldiers prepare to take their positions with weapons on top of the wall ready to battle the creatures. Commander Lin then gave the command to attack. A few soldiers jumped down the wall to attack the creatures, who were already at the base of the wall aggressively ready to attack. They had giant rotating blades that cut the creatures that managed to climb halfway the wall into pieces. Back in the barracks, Ballard and Taver are set to execute their escape plan, but Taver reluctantly insists they wait for William since he doesn't want to leave without him. Taver walks off Ballard to look for William. Then battle continues and the soldiers manage to hit a few Taotays with giant spears attached to long chains in an attempt to capture one or two. The creatures are so intelligent and are able to pull out the spears from those that were hit. Eventually, they manage to get one. They tried pulling, but William told them to stop to avoid breaking the chain since it had too much tension. William slides down the chain to the bottom of the wall. Just before he lands on the ground, spear attached to the creatures comes off, but luckily he lands safely. He manages to secure the chain to the creature's leg and signals the soldiers to pull from above. But suddenly a few creatures emerge from behind to attack him, but luckily, Taver appears suddenly to save him. Now they have to defend themselves against the creatures down there and manage to kill a few of them. William then signaled Commander Lin for help. Then soldiers began firing explosives to the ground to kill the rest of the creatures. The two finally get rescued by the soldiers through an access door below. William wakes in the treatment area and sees Commander Lin sitting by him. He quickly asks her if the creature was captured and also about Taver. He was glad to hear that the creature was captured and Taver is fine as well. In the next scene, we see the captured creature in a metal cage. The creature looks very aggressive, trying to break the cage. Strategist Wang slowly draws the magnet attached to a stick closer to the cage, and immediately the creature becomes still and calm. A commander instructed that the creature should be sent to the capital. Strategist Wang said no, they have to study it in the barracks. But he insisted that if a Taotay is captured, it must be sent to the emperor. Back on the wall, the battle continues. Ballard and Taver make their move to attempt to steal black powder to proceed with their escape. They sneak into the warehouse where the black powder is kept. Ballard plants an explosive in front of the door for explosion. He lights it up and quickly runs to take cover with Taver. Moments later, they manage to explode the gate open. Just as they were about to start packing the black powder, William runs in on them. Taver convinces him to come with them to make their escape with the black powder. William refused and said he can't do that now, but rather will stay and fight. Ballard quickly cuts loose a rope, causing hanging sacks to fall on William, knocking him down unconscious. Then they took packages and started running away. Meanwhile, Commander Lin and her men have found out that the creatures have managed to breach the wall and are on their way to the capital. They then decide to get to the capital before the creatures do. Ballard and Taver have finally made their escape on horse and are now in the mountains. At the capital, the other commanders arrive with the creature that was captured. They present it before the emperor and informs him that the magnet keeps the creature under control. In fact, it is their discovery in the history of the Taotay. Back at the barracks, William is captured and brought to Commander Lin, accusing of helping Taver and Ballard to escape with the black powder. Then a worker at the warehouse quickly arrives to tell Commander Lin that he was there and saw William trying to stop Ballard and Taver from escaping. Commander Lin then commanded some soldiers to go after Ballard and Taver. William is then thrown into a room and locked up. Back in the mountains, Ballard and Taver comes to a stop because they seems to have missed their way. Then Taver asked Ballard which way to go and Ballard insisted they go up the valley. As Taver got off his horse to inspect the top of the mountain, Ballard took Taver's horse and ran in the other direction, betraying him. Meanwhile, at barracks, Commander Lin and her men set off and begin their journey to the capital by air. William is now released. He runs to the top of the wall. There, he sees Strategist Wang and asks him what's going on. Strategist Wang tells him to leave so he can tell the story of the Taotays to the rest of the world. Instead of leaving, William requested to join them for battle. Night catches up with Ballard in the mountains and he's eventually ambushed by a group of horsemen. At the capital, the emperor and the other commanders continue to study the creature with the magnet. They moved the magnet away from the creature, causing it to wake up again. It quickly signaled the queen of its location. The queen then commanded the rest of the creatures to change their direction. They then headed towards the capital. The creatures eventually reached the capital and started attacking people. Commander Lin and her soldiers engaged them in a battle. In the process, Commander Lin fell to the ground and got surrounded by some of the creatures ready to kill her. Just then, William, Strategist Wang and a few soldiers arrived just on time to rescue her. They eventually had a rough landing, and then went to the temple to report to the emperor to serve. The emperor was furious of their late arrival and said the creatures have overrun the city, killing thousands of soldiers and innocent people. Strategist Wang asked for the captured creature, which has been kept in the dungeon. He told the emperor that they need it in order to kill the queen, because once the queen is killed, she can't signal and the whole army will freeze. They loaded up captured creature with explosives and meat to feed and placed it in the canal. They opened the gates at the end of the canal leading to the city, so when the creature wakes up to feed, it will run to the queen as planned. Strategist Wang gently removed the magnet, so they quickly moved away from the creature. The creature then woke up to feed, then quickly ran to the queen. William and Commander Lin quickly climbed up the temple to find a higher spot in order to shoot an arrow to fire the explosives. He fired the arrow towards the queen to ignite the explosive but missed after the guards shielded the queen, causing the explosives to divert off, exploding in the air. This infuriated the queen, signaling her army to go climb the temple. William and Commander Lin climbed further up to get a good spot for another shot. He fired another shot but once again missed the queen. At this point, they only had one black powder explosive left and had only one chance or they all die. Commander Lin then locked a rope on the corner of the roof, so they both quickly jumped out to swing a long rope around. William carefully threw the last explosive along with the magnet straight to the queen. Moments later, it exploded, killing the queen and her guards. At that moment, all the creatures were frozen since the queen is dead and therefore can no longer control them. They all fell to the ground dead. William returned to the barracks to see Tavar, who was apparently captured by the soldiers who went after him and Ballard in the mountains. Ballard got killed after he was ambushed. The movie ends with Tavar and William on their horses with some soldiers escorting them off. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching.